Welcome back to the Armchair Sociologist. Now, this lecture is part of the ongoing series on answer writing masterclass. And so far, we have covered three sessions. The first on knowing sociology and writing sociology, and the next two on types of introductions, which you can use in UPSC Sociology mains. Today, in this lecture, we are going to talk about something that might look small but actually decides how well we score: directives. What are directives? Directives are the action words in a question. You must have seen in UPSC question paper certain directive words like discuss, examine, critically examine, or evaluate. They tell us how to write our answer, not just what to write. Their purpose is simple: it is to test our understanding, our analysis, and judgment. They guide the structure, tone, and depth of our answers. Whether we are explaining broadly, or we are probing deeply, investigating the topic at hand, or making a balanced judgment. Many a time, students know about all the thinkers, concepts, theories, but still they lose marks or they are not able to score well. Why? Because we might ignore these small words. So once we understand directives, we will know exactly how to shape our answers. What is the question expecting from us? And that is what we will learn over the next few lectures. So let us begin this part 1 on directives, master mains. Now, are directives actually important, or we can ignore them and write whatever we know about the topic in the exam? The short answer is no, they are very critical. And now we will understand the why part of it. First of all, directives decide the structure of our answer. Now, the same topic can be asked with different directives. For example, the same topic of social fact can be asked with discuss or examine social fact, or they can say critically examine or even evaluate. Now, with the different types of directives, the nature, the structure of answer must change, because discuss expects us to give a broad overview, whereas examine expects us to investigate the assumptions, the underlying beliefs in that particular concept and the limits of that concept. Whereas critically examine expects us to understand the strengths and weaknesses of that theory, of that concept. Whereas evaluate not only expects us to weigh on both sides of the concept but also give a judgment. So now if we ignore the directives, we will risk giving the wrong style of answer even if our content is correct. So it is very important to write the answer as per the directive of the question. Now next, why it is important? Because examiners check the directives first. Why? Because they have limited time. So they will quickly glance through our paper and they will see, did this student follow the directive or not? If yes, they will immediately understand, okay, this person has understood the question's demand. If no, even if we have written brilliant content, it looks like dump of knowledge. It feels as if whatever we knew about the topic under the sun, we have written it down. So we might end up with marks which are average, not the ones which we deserved. Next, following the directive also equals to higher marks for same knowledge. Imagine two students who both know Durkheim's concept of social fact. Now, if the question expects them to write, evaluate social fact, and student A writes a generic discuss style answer, definition, features, and some critique. However, student B notices that the question says evaluate. So they not only write all, but they also add a clear judgment, a verdict at the end. Same theory, same knowledge. But student B scores higher simply because they understood and applied the directive. So therefore, directives, following the directives leads to higher marks for same knowledge. Next, UPSC expects application of knowledge, not just data dump. They want to see whether we are able to apply our sociological understanding to a question. And directives exactly does that. It pushes us to make use of our sociological understanding, not just repeat what we have studied. Also, ignoring directives makes our answer read like a GS answer, not an answer of sociology optional. So even if we know everything about Marx, Weber, or Durkheim, if we don't write in the style the directive demands, we might lose 1 to 2 marks per question, which adds up to 20 to 30 marks per paper. Now, this can seriously jeopardize our chances. Therefore, it is very, very important that we follow the directives in the question. Now let us look at an example of how it looks if we are not following the directive. Here is a question on critically examine Durkheim's concept of social fact. The directive is clearly critically examine. So if we are not following the directive and we write a generic discuss style answer, the answer might look like this. In the introduction, we define the concept. What is social fact as per Durkheim? So Durkheim defines social fact as external, coercive in general, and these are ways of acting, thinking, and feeling that exist outside individuals. In the body of the answer, you list some of the characteristics. Social facts include law, religion, and language. In Suicide 1897, Durkheim showed that suicide has social causes like integration and regulation. Social facts give sociology a scientific identity. And then finally, you conclude. So this answer is decent, but it is not correct because it doesn't follow the directive. So what happens? The examiner sees that it is not following the directive of critically examine and looks like a summary dump of what the student knows about the topic. So it is not wrong, but it is not right as well. Because critically examine expects us to talk about the strengths and weaknesses, the pros and cons. But there are no pros and cons mentioned. There is no critical examination of the topic. There is no critical edge. So finally, examiner reads and this and thinks did not follow the directive. This is the final conclusion the examiner makes. So the result is average marks. Despite of the fact that we have studied the topic, we have understood the topic, and we have memorized the topic, revised the topic so many times, at the end we are not able to score as much as we deserved. This is only because we have not followed the directive at hand. Now let us see how following the directive actually changes the quality of our answer. The directive remains the same, critically examine. So we will use the same question, critically examine Durkheim's concept of social fact. The content is same as before. Our knowledge remains the same, but this time the structure and tone match the directive. So let us see how we are going to write it. First, the introduction. Introduction, we say in Rules of Sociological Method 1895, Durkheim introduced social fact as external, coercive, and collective realities aiming to establish sociology as science. Now, next in the body, we go and talk about the first part as strength. The strength, the pros of the concept of social fact. So this is where we show what was right about Durkheim's idea. He said that it provided sociology an independent subject matter. So before Durkheim, sociology overlapped with other subjects like philosophy and psychology. However, the study of Durkheim gave sociology its own focus, that is studying society itself, not just individuals. Next, treated social facts as things, bringing in objectivity. So Durkheim said we should observe social behavior scientifically through facts and data, not personal opinions. Also, he applied it empirically in Suicide 1897 using statistics. So he just did not give a theory. He tested it with data, with hard data, and proved that even an individual act like suicide has social causes such as in religion or family ties or social integration. So that is how he made sociology truly empirical. So when we list the strength, we have talked about everything which Durkheim felt that was right about social fact. However, when we say critically examine, now we have to go to the part of weaknesses, the con part. So now comes the second part of the body, the weaknesses or the criticisms. Because the question says critically examine, we have to present both sides. So the first point, it is overly deterministic because individuals are seen as passive. So Durkheim made society look all powerful and individuals almost powerless, like we just follow norms without having any choice at all. So Weber said that it ignored the subjective, meaning the Verstehen aspect. Weber said sociology should also understand people's meanings, intentions, emotions something which Durkheim did not at all capture. Next, symbolic interactionist and ethno-methodologist. According to them, social reality is constructed, not just any fixed facts. So now these later thinkers argued that society isn't something external. It is created and recreated every day through our own interactions. And later on, postmodernists, they rejected the idea of fixed social fact. They said modern society is too fluid and diverse to have one single truth. So Durkheim's idea of universal laws does not fit in today's world. Now, the important part of conclusion. This is where many students might go wrong. Remember, critically examine means that at the end we have to give a balanced statement, not a final verdict. We don't have to give a final verdict, we have to give a balanced statement. So, social fact, we say that Durkheim's social fact was pioneering in giving sociology a scientific status, yet its deterministic assumptions limit its explanatory power. मतलब और भी चीजों की जरूरत है. इट रिमेन्स फाउंडेशनल बट मस्ट बी कॉम्प्लीमेंटेड बाय इंटरप्रेटिव अप्रोचेस. तो हमने एक बैलेंस इसमें एक फाइनल कंक्लूजन दिया, उसका अच्छाई और उसके लिमिटेशंस बताते हुए एक बैलेंस बताया. तो इन सिंपल वर्ड्स, डर्कहाइम गेव सोशियोलॉजी अ स्ट्रॉन्ग साइंटिफिक बेसिस. उसने उसको सोशियोलॉजी को अपने पैर दिए खड़े होने के लिए, बट हिज थ्योरी वाज टू मैकेनिकल. So we still study him as the foundation. Of course, it is very important, but now we combine his ideas with newer approaches that focus on meaning and interpretation. अब हम उस पर भी ध्यान देते हैं. अब ये जो वर्जन है हमारा, जिसमें हमने उसको स्टार्टिंग में इंट्रोडक्शन दिया, उसके स्ट्रेंथ और उसके वीकनेसेस को बताया, और फाइनल हमने एक बैलेंस्ड कंक्लूजन दिया. ये क्यों बेटर है? बिकॉज ये आंसर जो है इट फॉलोज द डायरेक्टिव. जैसे ही एग्जामिनर देखेंगे कि डायरेक्टिव फॉलो हुआ कि नहीं हुआ, तो वहां पे हमने टिक लगा दिया कि डायरेक्टिव फॉलो हुआ है. क्यों? क्योंकि क्रिटिकली एग्जामिनर एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा है कि हमें प्रॉस, उसके स्ट्रेंथ, वीकनेसेस और बैलेंस क्लोजर देना है. वो तीनों एस्पेक्ट हमने इसमें कवर कर लिया है. कंटेंट सेम है, हमारा नॉलेज सेम है, ऐसा कुछ इसमें बहुत ज्यादा अंतर नहीं हो गया है. जो पहले वाले स्टूडेंट को पता था और दूसरे स्टूडेंट को पता था, आई एम प्रीटी श्योर कि दोनों को सभी बातें पता होंगी, बट it has been structured as per the question and the examiner's demand. तो चूंकि डिमांड यहाँ फुलफिल हुई है, तो मार्क्स स्कोरिंग होंगे, अच्छे होंगे. एटलीस्ट जैसा हमने एग्जाम में जितनी तैयारी करके हम गए हैं, उस हिसाब से हमें जितना हम डिजर्व कर रहे हैं वो हमें जरूर मिलेगा मार्क्स, बिकॉज वी आर फॉलोइंग द डायरेक्टिव हियर एंड आंसरिंग द क्वेश्चन एज पर द डिमांड. So this might score much higher, anything greater than 5, 6, 7, बहुत अच्छे मार्क्स मिल सकते हैं. So that is the power of following the directive. So with this we wrap up today's lecture, and what we have learned, that directives decide the structure of our answer. They are the first thing examiners are going to check, they're going to notice. It can actually raise our marks with the same knowledge and content, and it can turn theory into application. Now in the next part of this Directives Demystified, we will decode directives like discuss, examine, critically examine, and evaluate. These four, one by one, with examples and some quick to use formulas which you can directly use in the exam. Thank you for watching today's lecture on directives. I hope it helped you see how one small word can completely change the way you structure your answers. If you are preparing for civil services exam, whether it is UPSC or any of the state civil services, please check out my other playlist, that is Foundation in Sociology and Methodology series, where I'm building conceptual clarity directly from credible sources like Harlambos Blue Book and Orange Book. Together, these series will help you create a strong foundation. If you found this useful, please give it a like, share it with your study circle with fellow sociology enthusiasts and aspirants, and subscribe to the Armchair Sociologist for more lectures on theory, on methodology, and answer writing. Let us keep learning. Thank you.